Hello everyone, this is Pal Ponder on Weather coming at you with another video. In this update, we're going to be talking about Tropical Storm Zeta that looks to rapidly intensify today and become a hurricane and make a landfall in Cozumel overnight Monday into Tuesday, and then make a secondary landfall off the southeast coast of the U.S. Wednesday night into Thursday morning. So before I do get started, if you do like weather-related content, please subscribe to my channel, as I will upload about 5 videos a week to keep you updated. And I do ask you to share this video with your friends and family that may be impacted by Zeta. So let's kind of delve into the details. Here's the latest 8 a.m. advisory from the National Hurricane Center. It is now a 70 mile per hour tropical storm, just on the cuff of a hurricane. Remember, it was a 50 mile per hour storm just 12 hours ago, and the National Hurricane Center has it bumping up later on today to an 85 mile per hour hurricane. So if that were to happen, that would classify it as rapidly intensifying, increasing 35 miles per hour over a 24-hour period. So that would be rapidly intensifying, making landfall sometime into Monday night, into Tuesday morning, right off the coast of Cozumel. So they look to take a direct hit, basically around Cozumel, Playa del Carmen, and then of course Cancun will be in the right front quadrant as well. So they'll take a brunt of the storm as well, and it'll eventually get into the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, remain a hurricane. But then we have that very strong cold front that's coming to the United States, a trough with some shear attached to it, and that should help weaken the storm as it's approaching the southeast coast of the U.S., making landfall somewhere in the vicinity of New Orleans to Mississippi to Alabama, just on the cuff of the Florida Panhandle, by overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning as a strong tropical storm or a minimal hurricane. So now let's take a look at the overall big picture of what it all kind of looks like with the overall satellite picture. This is the zoomed out version. And of course, right now here, this is where Zeta's really getting its act together. You can see the dark, white cloud tops, really cold cloud tops. Sometimes it's almost trying to look like it's forming an eye. And then here's an area of an interest off the southeast coast that it's an old frontal boundary that could, I'm not really expecting too much of this area, but this could spin off and try to develop as a weak subtropical feature. I'm not, think that it's going to be named or anything, but I'm watching. This is an area of interest I'm watching, but I'm a little bit more concerned about this area down here, down the road. Here's a tropical wave, as well as here is also a tropical wave, and this will be trajectorying westward and going into this same general area by November 1st. So we'll delve into more details at the end of the video on that. But now let's zoom in to what Zeta looks like this morning for the Caribbean. Gosh, you guys in Jamaica has been inundated, and I feel for you guys in Jamaica. For the last 4 or 5 days, you've been having torrential rains, and yesterday was just about the worst of it, with landslides, flooding all over the island, even some homes being washed away. So, man, you have really taken the brunt, and it just kind of goes to show you Zeta is actually nowhere near you, but you're just on, close enough where you're getting those outside bands. And unfortunately, it looks like there's another one setting up this morning on the south side. And as this kind of spins around, Zeta is finally moving, but that will, rotate around as it's moving away. So yes, you've unfortunately have one more day to deal with some heavier rain as this system finally moves off to the west. So you'll probably be raining on the east side of the island this morning, but then it'll move westward throughout the day. And so you'll be dealing with that. But then there's another setup. Look at this for the Caymans. I mean, what Jamaica dealt with yesterday, I think you're going to be dealing with today, with just some torrential rains over your area all day long as this setup is nearby. And this is kind of really, getting its act together, and then going to be strengthening throughout the day and eventually make landfall tonight, overnight, into here's Cozumel. The Playa del Carmen area, here's Cancun. So this area is going to really take a beating later on tonight and into the overnight. So now let's kind of take a look at the overall, guidance from Zeta and kind of what it looks like from all the different models. Most of them have it taken to a Category 1 hurricane now, and that's the official guidance from the National Hurricane Center. Yeah, it's definitely not out of the question. It could get to a Cat 2, but it's got a very short time period to be working with but it's going to make 2 landfalls, so it's got another, 12 to 18, about 18 hours left for it to strengthen. And it's already expected to get to 85. So it'd have to get to at least about a 95 mile per hour to get to a Cat 2. So here's the guidance from, the European model and the latest GFS. Pretty much all season, the European model has had a westward bias for some reason. This one brings it a little bit further west into Lake Charles area and gets inundated over Louisiana. Here's the latest GFS model, and it kind of shifts it further east from the European track. So the overall guidance is leading towards from the National Hurricane Center to more of a GFS type track versus the Euro, just because they've just had a westward bias. And I think that trough is going to be too much of an influence on Zeta. Well, it will keep it eastward from what the Euro is showing. But now let's kind of take a look at the overall, precipitation water vapor index. This is basically where we're at this morning. Here's the setup over Jamaica. Again, you're going to be dealing with more torrential rains this morning into the afternoon, and then especially into the Cayman Islands as Zeta really starts to get its act together. And then by overnight, Monday night into Tuesday, this heavier rainfall finally moves off the island, and then you're still going to be socked into the Cayman Islands. But now look at the bullseye setting up over Cozumel with almost 5-inch rainfall rates potential per hour. So that is some extreme rainfall potential headed into Cozumel later on tonight, into Playa del Carmen, possibly Cancun, and this will swing off into the Gulf of Mexico and come across on the other side, basically by Tuesday morning. So it'll be about a 6-hour time frame where it's, taking a brunt over the northern tip of the Yucatan with some very heavy rainfall and some hurricane force winds. But as this kind of swings up by overnight Wednesday night into Thursday morning, it is expected to make landfall somewhere in the vicinity of New Orleans, to Mississippi, to Alabama, on the outskirts of the outer panhandle of Florida, somewhere in this vicinity. It's hard to say because this trough of the timing of it all and how it's going to be picked up. So I'm leaning a little bit further east from what it's actually showing now. So somewhere in in the vicinity, but don't get too concentrated in the exact position of the eye, because you can see you're still going to get impacts well away from the center from wind and rain from this system. But yeah, the overall rainfall from this system is pretty extreme. Obviously you've already picked up a ton of rain in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands area, and you're just adding insult to injury onto those totals. But that will finally shift off, to the west and bringing those torrential rains into the Yucatan, over the Gulf of Mexico, and eventually getting into the New Orleans area on the east side of, skirting the Mississippi, Alabama parallel coast, but flooding inland too. So this is going to take it inland as well through Georgia. So I'm expecting 4, 5, 6, 8 inches in North Georgia is not out of the question from Zeta. But now let's take a look at kind of a little bit down the road, and this is the model's been hitting in it. Is Zeta going to be the last storm? And unfortunately, it is not going to be, because this setup of a very strong cold front, like we mentioned, that's headed into the United States. Here's from the latest 925 millibar temperature guidance. That cold front, obviously in a weakened state, will be into the Gulf of Mexico. And whenever you see this, you have an enhanced low-level convergence. You basically have divergence aloft, and then you got this combination of the wave that's coming in from the main development region will combine into this really warm tropical feature. And then I mentioned before, we have an elevated vertical velocity index at that time. So you basically have the combination of a very strong cold front mixing into that warm most air, developing a low pressure in this general same area by the first week of November, essentially around November 1st or November 2nd time frame. So if we kind of extend the outlook a little bit, and this is only about 7 days from now, so that's why I'm even bringing this up so you can kind of what to expect. Here's what the outlook would look like by the over Monday morning, the 2nd. That's just a week away, bringing that very tropical feed back into the Caribbean, tapping into that divergence air, developing a low pressure somewhere in this vicinity. And if that were to come to fruition, this would become the next storm, and the next storm would be Eta. And of course, this is kind of a long ways out, but this just kind of goes to show you this is the pattern that we're setting up down the line. If this were to come to fruition, this would be a very, very formidable storm just south of Jamaica that you might be dealing with more torrential rain and wind coming up, by Thursday or Friday next week. So, yeah. I mean, I appreciate you guys watching this video. So I put this out there so you can definitely plan, protect, and be as safe as possible. Be sure to share this video with your friends and family on social media that may be impacted by Zeta. Be sure to like this video and comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the next video where I protect you before and after the storm.